What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of 10K on the Bay, my journey to 10,000 live listings. I'm super excited to bring to you an episode of Reseller Smackdown where I go over 4 stores and give 5 actionable improvements per store to help people improve their ideal eBay business. So this is my public store, the Low Key Husky. I'm going to go over some photographs because a lot of people, I think, need the same advice. So I'm going to go over this information on photographs. And I want to create a world-class store, and world-class stores have world-class photos. So that's where the focus is here. I want to show you guys something that I consider very desirable for the customer. So for me, I understand the checkmark photo for jeans, which is this one, or however you want to do it. Mine doesn't look quite like a check, but me as a consumer, I cannot see what the jeans look like on my body. So I prefer a front and back shot. For the gallery photo, I want to see what the item looks like laid out. That's just personal preference. You can do whatever you like. But I do want you to focus on a few things for photos. I want you to minimize editing. So all of these photos are not edited. And I think you can tell because there is not a washing out of the item. I just have a really good setup with 4 lights. 4 lights is overkill. You don't need that. But the reason why I have 4 lights, one in each corner, is to reduce hot spots and cold spots. So you can see here in the crotch area, if I only had 2 lights, there would be a darker area in the crotch area or around the edges, but because I have 4 lights, it's relatively even. Also, I think you can tell by scrolling through the photos that these are not stock photos. So in my opinion, really well taken photos of the item sell better than stock photos, but again, it depends. You're selling the dream sometimes and you want to have a fancy model if you're selling clothing, but I want you to minimize editing. I want you to have a square photo so you can fully see the item. And this is something I see on a lot of stores. You're not utilizing the maximum space for the item. You want to get as much of the item into the space as you can so people can really see it because they don't have an opportunity to hold the item in their hand. Okay, now I think that you want to improve as you go. Don't go down a rabbit hole like me and spend an entire day working on your photos. I do that like once a month. That's a huge waste of time. Just improve as you go. You don't need to be world class right away. World class people started as beginners. So just continue to improve as you go. Remember the gallery photo. On shirts, I like the shirt completely laid out. I honestly think that I have world class photos already. Not to toot my own horn, but I've been spending a lot of time on them. And as far as the actual photos, I think that you can see the detail on my shots really well. They're really crispy and they're really natural. This is exactly what this shirt looks like in person. I'll have to do a separate video that goes over what camera I use and the exact settings. Guys, 100% of how good your photos are, not 100%, but most of the photo is just lighting. You can use a pretty average camera and take world-class photos if you have world-class lighting. Okay, let's go to the first store. Thank you for submitting it. We have 1,545 items for sale, 870 items. One thing I think would be huge is if you can get top rated status. I just barely got top rated and it has improved my sell-through rate, so strive for the top rated seller button because it ranks higher in search. So let's go into the store here. This is a really high Pokemon card store. I love Pokemon cards. Originally, my 10,000 item store was going to be 100% Pokemon cards, but I didn't want to spend the time learning the niche as far as the tournaments, what cards were popular. I purchased a PSA subscription, which has now since expired, but you need to do PSA rated cards if you're going to be in the Pokemon game because the ASP is much, much, much higher. So I would take a look at Greg Morris cards and the Charizard Authority. Those are 2 huge card sellers. Take a look at how they do things. You need to offer, in my opinion, a combined shipping discount for multiple cards to increase your average order price. You need to have some specific deals going in the promotions tab. So go to my eBay, go to the promotions tab, create some buy 3, get $5 off or something like that. Maybe not $5 off since some of your cards are relatively cheap, but you want to increase your ASP to at least $30. Now that doesn't mean you can't sell cheap stuff. You just need more home runs in the store. Out of 1,500 items, you only have 2 over $12. You really need to get that ASP up. In fact, instead of 1,500 items, you could just sell 1 car and probably make the same amount of money. and way less time. So if you're going to focus on this type of stuff, that's sort of you're purchasing lots or things that come in, make sure that you have some home runs in there, and you need to learn PSA. This right here, this Charizard, I would send it in the PSA right away. You could probably get quadruple that amount if it has a high grade. So definitely take a look at that. I also want you to spend 1 hour a day working on sourcing, and I want you to get lots. That would be something that I think would also improve. And then finally, the last thing I want to say is that your description is hard to read. Like, we live in a society that needs quick, snappy answers. You don't need return information or shipping information because that's already in the shipping and payments tab. What I would do is, focus on the fact that people are buying from a small business. So say, thank you for supporting small business. I like this description of conditions. This feedback stuff, include that in a shorter 1 or 2 sentence thing to get people to read it. And also, don't use multiple fonts because it's just hard to read. When I see this, it looks like 1990 to me. And also, I don't like the centering. I would want left justified just because it's easier to read. This is a little bit more difficult, although the information in here is fantastic, especially for card collectors. Okay, let's go to the next store. Starbee's Closet. Awesome, 176 items. Looks like you got started relatively recently because all your feedback is in the last year. So starting in February, you're doing a great job. Look at the feedback. That must give you great joy that you just started and things are going great. So here's a couple things I want to go over in your store. A lot of your photos are dark, and I would say more important than white background is that your photos are bright. Because then people can get a better idea and it looks more homey. Like you can see this remote control is on a neutral background. It pops out more than this pair of jeans, which is the background is a little bit dark around the edges. I would get square photos and also take things that are more in focus. So this is a Universal Studios bomber jacket right here. It's very difficult to see the logo. I would almost do a close-up of the logo so people could see it because I can't read it even though... I'm not going to click into it because it already looks like it's out of focus. So I don't know if that's because of the camera you're using, or I actually think it's probably more that the lighting is a little bit too dark in this area. So adjust your lighting a little bit and go for the full square, especially on an awesome item like this. You want to be able to see the full graphic. There's a couple of things in this store I think would really help you. One is replenishables. It gets a little tedious always looking for items that are one-off. So try to learn replenishables. If you guys look at my Husky store, some of the items are replenishable. I don't share my New It with Tag store because I don't want people selling the same replenishables as me. And also, I want you to focus on sort of the mid-range $30 to $50 ASP. And those are things that require research. And I would say the thing that really helps with the research is solds. So go into the sold section and see what things are selling for and use programs like Terapeak or the Growth tab to find out what's trending in the $30 to $50 range. If you can fill your entire store with that, you'll do great. But honestly, you're doing a great job at 219 listings. I would just increase the number of listings you have, either quantity-wise. Let's take a look at your solds and see what's up. So 97, that's a great sell-through rate. That's 30, that's like at least 15 or 20%. And I like that you lot a lot of items. That really will help you get the maximum dollar. Let's see here. What else can I recommend on this store? Your titles look great. 3X plus size, lot of 5. I like it. If you're going to do a lot of 5, do a photo that shows the lot of 5 so that I can see I'm getting multiple items and it increases the value. I love when you use stock photos. I don't have an issue with that as long as they don't take you down for stealing the photos from somebody. I like this. So you got multiple listings for probably different size, unless this is accidentally a duplicate, in which case you should put the size of it in the title. So missing the size can be a huge error. Also, some of these items are missing gender. So I would put gender in the title, women's. Are these chinos men's or women's chinos? But here on this Mountain Hardware, you did include women's. So make sure you adjust your listings, in my opinion, at least one time per week. So I'd put it on your calendar one time per week to go in here and adjust the titles. Each time you adjust it, you also get a boost in Cassini ranking. I believe that's a speculation, but it's worked for me. Okay. Next one is bright blue gold. This is Melissa. Thanks for submitting your store. Great. So let's take a look at your store. I would say a lot of the items look a little bit dark when you're using the mannequin. And I just think that doesn't highlight how cool these items are. So if you can spend a little bit more time, make these a little bit brighter, then I think that would help a lot. I hope that you're cross-posting on Poshmark because you have stylistically cute photos. I love the plant. I don't have any issue with having an item in the picture. However, it is eBay policy that I learned today. The items in the picture must be included. So like they could file not as described and win because you did not include the plant. So just make sure on that. Even if you put it in the description, there may be some people taking advantage of sellers by saying that. So I don't mind with the stylistic accents. I think it looks fantastic. I would definitely sell more shoes. You can tell the ASP is much higher and you already have an idea because this is very, very well described. The only thing that's missing from this is gender. So make sure that you put men's in the title. It's going to help. You also want to put, let's see, you got brand. I would put lace in the title, laced up, because that'll be, if it's a laced up or is it the slip on, that was something that would really help with shoe sell-through rate. So remember gender. In these, you also are missing gender in a lot of these titles. That should definitely help your sell-through rate. I would adjust, sometimes putting the size earlier, sometimes later. For a hat, you might put one size fits all, or one size, or adjustable or snapback on this hat. I wonder if this is a snapback. Let's take a look. It is. Or maybe you would put adult in the title. But you just want to include a little bit more keywords that people might be searching for snapback. They might be searching for mesh for this particular hat. So you want to take a look and try to add keywords when you can. Also, I recommend you get a couple of eBay friends and constantly share your store with each other because that's going to really help you level up. Because honestly, if I knew you personally, and you were constantly looking at my store and I was looking at your store, that would be a huge way to level up because we would constantly be keeping each other in check. If you don't have eBay friends monitoring your store, you're making a huge mistake. I just got a long message this morning from one of my friends basically revising 25 of my listings. So I'm really, really grateful he took the time to go look through them and was just, adjusting titles, keywords, sizes. Get some eBay friends. If you want to reach out to me on Instagram, or via Gmail, 10konthebay@gmail.com. I can help try to connect you with people. I also host my own mastermind groups in the morning if you guys want to join one of those. But your photos are slightly dark, but honestly, they're very, very good and clear. Like this bra, you can see the full design of it. They're really in focus. I think little things matter, like the mannequin being clean. Your mannequin is super clean, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. But I do see some mannequins that are cracked or dirty, and that really just makes your item look really crappy. The only downside to this photo is that it's slightly dark in the background. I love that you take a picture of the tag. That is huge. 30-day returns, free shipping. I may charge for shipping, but you can definitely adjust it. I would do both and just see what kind of sell-through rate you have on both. I like this. This is probably where you store your item. Hopefully you stole my system. I would put this in the custom SKU if you can, because you can actually print that on the label, which makes my life super easy. As an example, on these items, you can see, let me cover the name. B39 is where I stored this item, and it's actually physically on the shipping label. So that saves a lot of time for me because it saves a lot of headaches too because I rarely ship the wrong item. Your top rated plus, which is fantastic. Let me see if I can get one more piece of advice for you. Here you're missing which size it is in this title, so make sure that you include the size. Looks like a few of these items you have not included the size. This Francesca, is this Knox? Oh, it does say small. Okay, it doesn't look like you're missing the size too often, but that's a small edit that will definitely help your sell through. Make sure you have gender and size in all your titles. I would give yourself a little bit more negative space for a shirt right? So if you look here, it goes right to the edge. And on my photos, I leave a little bit of a room around the edges, which gives it a little bit more of a premium look. That extra space, I could actually use a little bit more space along the top to give it more depth. But let's see. Let's go back to your store. I like it a lot. I love these hung photos, but again, a little bit dark. So I'd almost prefer these wood pictures because they're in a brighter setting. Let's see, jeans. This is so Instagrammable, but I hate jean photos that don't show what it looks like on the front. Like these shirt photos, I know exactly what it looks like, and I don't have to click into it to see. I don't have to click in to see the cut. Let's see if there's anything else. Otherwise, it's okay. I think you have 531 items, 425 sold. Excellent. So that's that's like 20% sell-through rate. Not bad. And again, you are selling mainly clothing, and clothing is extremely competitive. So you may want to either have a larger store or start selling some things that are either replenishable or some more rare type items, because you're competing with millions of people in this used clothing category, especially for women's. Okay. Let's go to Randy's store. Thanks for sending your store in. Let's see here. 403 items. So I would say you have a bluish tint on your photos, which is basically a camera setting. I don't know which camera that you have, but you can tell that that there's a little bit of too much blue, so the white balance is off. You can tell how different it is when you have a pure white background. You can edit this out by overexposing the item, but I wouldn't do that. I like the natural lighting. With really, really hot items like Super Nintendo and Supreme and stuff like this, I actually think that you can take the photos in a more natural setting, like a table or your couch. The reason is because it's really, really important that you convey to people that you have it in hand. They already know what it looks like. It's brand new. You just want to let people know. I bet you this Supreme photo is actually a stock photo. Let's take a look. If it's not a stock photo, great job on taking a photo. Okay, maybe it's not a stock photo. So great job on this photo, on these photos rather. I like taking a detailed shot of the button. Also, there's a lot of fake Supreme. So if you guys take a really detailed shots of the logo, it'll help people authenticate. If you get items that are just a stock photo from Supreme.com, people are going to be more weary and not necessarily want to purchase from you. You can experiment with putting new in the front or after. Supreme, they say for the Google search, you're not supposed to have all caps. So you might be able to test that, like this BMW Motorrad. Maybe in Motorrad, don't put in all caps. Maybe that'll help it rank better. Man, these LOL toys are ridiculous. I don't know how you ship these guys. Definitely sell more shoes. And I would say, since it looks like you're just getting started with about 403 items, try to sell some more used items, because used items have the highest profit. So I recommend creating a saved search in Craigslist to look for specific used items. I think that's going to really help you out as far as building in some profit. I like that you're doing some RA, doing some cleats. Hopefully you're learning a lot from Hustlebee and Glenn Hustler Hacks. Shout out to those guys. You are selling the good stuff. So I love these lots. 403. Let's take a look here. 122 sold. Okay, so your sell-through rate's a little bit lower than than you probably want, and a lot of people want to sell their items faster. It's probably just pricing, to be honest. You have a lot of higher end, great profit items, and you're probably just waiting. So expect your sell-through rate to be a little bit lower when you sell such premium items, because again, most of the stores on eBay that do a lot of volume are in the sub $15 category, and they're building in more of that lower ASP to pad and to get traffic in so they can sell these higher ASP items. I love that you included the bag, because you want to include all the items that come with it. One thing I want to mention is that Randy actually sent me some questions, and it's very important that you do that. If you're going to ask me for advice, try to be more specific so I can do some homework and really help with you guys. So am I doing this live? I'm not. I'm doing it pre-recorded. My background is super white and bright. It's just lighting. So you need to adjust your lighting and your camera settings. It took me a long time to get my photos this white without editing. Do you need a separate store for new stuff? I personally don't think so. Most of you guys aren't going to build a website for your store, so I don't think that you need to focus specifically on one niche for your store and become known as that. That's a little bit more advanced. You can have different stores, but I don't necessarily recommend it. I have new items in my Husky store. I have one store that is all new with tags, but the only reason why I have a separate store is because I don't want to share it with YouTube. If I was just doing it for fun, I wouldn't do that because it doesn't matter. So hopefully that was useful, guys. If you have more questions, email me specifically at 10k at gmail, 10konthebay@gmail.com. If you guys want to buy a store review, you can go to my eBay store and purchase one. They're about $20, and I'll give you 5 actionable tips via video. And if you guys have any questions, again, reach out to me on Instagram or just email me. And if you guys don't ask me a specific question, I'll probably just ignore you. So hope everyone's having a great day. Have a great holiday. Talk to you guys soon.